Hello fans, Theories here, and welcome back to another Reddit leak video. I'm sure you're all thinking, wait, how many leaks can Reddit possibly have? But trust me, there are an overabundance of these leaks, and they're really interesting because it's like a little leak war going on in Reddit. It's really interesting. But before we get into today's leak, if you could just do me a teeny tiny little favour, click that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 10k by the end of the year, and I honestly believe that with your support, we can make it happen. But with that said, let's get into today's leak. Hi guys, hope you've all been alright. I imagine these posts are getting kind of frustrating to you all now. I mean, not really, my analytics are loving it. But I don't want to get anyone's hopes up or give people any false information about the incoming series of Doctor Who. And to be helpful, I'm in the middle of one of these so-called leaks. If you're lost and confused, which I get, to be honest, then please check my post history to remind yourself which one I am. The person who posted their rumours most recently is lending you information which frankly is complete codswallop. What a word. Although I imagine they'd say the same thing about mine. Essentially, Chris isn't leaving this year. Okay, so this is in reference to the Chibnall rumour, which I always thought smelled off anyway. Seemed off anyway. There isn't a 3-season contract, it's 5 seasons, and that's always been the plan. That makes sense. The thing about the China deal is that it doesn't have a bearing on that. The reason the 5 years thing has been thrown around so much, I would imagine, is because of the initial plan for Chibnall's run. We wanted him to be able to deliver a series every year, but unfortunately, that's been proving increasingly difficult, especially with COVID. What many people don't realise is how difficult it is to do a series, which often films in completely different areas of the country, with different sets literally every week. A show like, say, Death in Paradise could get away with it, but even that only runs for 8 episodes a year. That's precisely why the BBC have agreed to let Chibnall carry on with a lower episode count through to series 15. Oh, are we gonna have to get a lower episode count till series 15? Oh man, it's weird because all the things that I don't want to be happening are all the ones that they seem to agree on, like the lower episode counts is something they all seem to be agreeing on these days. Having noticed the reaction of some fans to my news, I would also like to point out that the reason that the ratings have gone down is not particularly to do with the Timeless Children story arc. It is very easy to use as a kind of point of controversy for fans. However, as the BBC have done the actual audience research, it has been discovered that the people who are indeed bothered by the Timeless Children story arc will most likely continue watching the show. In reality, the viewing figures have not gone down in such a way that is unusual for a current TV show in the current climate. Across the board, BBC viewing figures have decreased and Doctor Who is still done successfully in the charts for the week. Henceforth, there is no chance of it being cancelled at this time. Nonetheless, as I stated in my prior post, the BBC strongly desire for the figures to go up, and the aim is for Series 8 viewing figures. The same thing that was said in this person's previous leak, which I also covered. I'll leave a little card in the corner. Frankly, a reasonable target. In the current state of modern TV, with the increasing popularity of streaming services, it is almost impossible to attain consistent viewers in the 10 million plus range, as the show occasionally achieved during the Tennant years. The real rationale for why viewers have left is widely regarded as being due to a lack of promotion, and the promotion that there has not been effective as it has been in previous years for the show. In addition, in Series 11, the BBC noted that there should be an increase in monsters to appeal to more younger demographic who had dropped off in recent years. Indeed, that did improve with Series 12, but the promotional material, particularly for Series Open and Spiteful Part 1, is mostly what damaged the ratings for the season, with many assuming that it was merely a one-off special and a good amount not even being aware of its broadcast. Yeah, that's something that happened actually. A lot of people thought that Spiteful Part 1 was just a one-off special in the realm of Revolution or Resolution, but in fact, it was the lead up to an entirely new series. So the fact that people had that misconception in the first place has kind of shown how poor the marketing's been recently. A sharp contrast to the exceptional performance of Series 11's opener. As for the showrunner position, the BBC are indeed looking for a successor to Chibnall, who they want to come into effect in 2024 at the earliest. As I mentioned in my prior post, we want a series every year. Several big names have been approached, such as Jed Mercurio, Line of Duty and Bodyguard, but most of these have turned the offer down, wishing to focus on projects with less pressure on them than Doctor Who. Currently, several writers, both old and new, have been considered for the position. Granted, the BBC are not 100% certain who they want to hire. The current frontrunner would seem to be Pete McTeague, who Chibnall has been grooming for the position. However, he has never worked on a show as big as Doctor Who, which leaves the BBC to consider other names. Toby Whithouse for one. Oh, I'd love Toby Whithouse. Side note, I'd love Toby Whithouse to be the next showrunner. But many of his recent projects have not performed exceedingly well, ratings-wise. Peter Harness has also been considered, but his work on War of the Worlds has left the BBC uncertain as to his capabilities. One name has been bandied around. More recently has been Mike Bartlett, who has worked on the show once before, as a writer on a Capaldi episode. His work is very well regarded within the BBC. He also has a very keen interest in the show. The only problem mentioned by some is the lukewarm reaction of the story of Who that he wrote, as well as him never having worked on a sci-fi show before. However, neither had Russell D. Davies, if I'm correct. There have been a few talks with him about the position, and he has even suggested the actor who he would like to cast in the role. That being his frequent collaborator, Adrian Lester. Oh my god, Davis would be happy, who would be the first Doctor of Colour at this time. Although I can't give a definitive answer on who will be the next showrunner, but rest assured, they won't be taking over till Series 16 as is. As for the suggestion that the next Doctor could be a male of colour, I would say that it is perhaps unlikely but not impossible. The BBC aren't keen on the optics of having the first female in the role being immediately followed by a male, but a male of colour would possibly not come across as the BBC backing down. However, all Chibnall's current choices for 414 are female. Jodie is still planning on leaving, so no change there. Therefore, if Bartlett did take over on the showrunner role, I would imagine that Lester would be the 15th Doctor. The series opener won't be a two-parter, but the finale kind of is. There won't be a specific festive special for this series, however it has been suggested that the second half of the finale episode could be broadcast on Christmas or New Year's, depending on how the schedules work. So it could work a bit like End of Time, where it's not necessarily a special, but it just happens to air on those days. What I mean by that is that it's not focused on Christmas necessarily, it's more just something that happens around that time. The Daleks won't be coming back, but don't be surprised if one makes a very brief appearance. I think this happened in one of Capaldi's series openers, as well as one of Matt Smith's series. They won't be the lead foe in any episode, but Chibnall is likely to bring them back for series 14 or 15, as the BBC consider them to be beneficial to ratings, which makes sense. Finally, as said before, the BBC are currently planning for series 14 to debut in fall of 2022 to have a consistency to the show's broadcast, so the general audiences see it as a fixture in the schedules, like they do Call the Midwife or Death in Paradise, which have often been broadcast at the same time of year. Similarly, they are 8-episode series. The 60th year is intended to be a big one for the show, with a multi-Doctor story. The BBC want to capitalise on the anniversary as much as possible, due to it bringing back superb merchandise sales and much higher ratings for the 50th. Thank you for reading this, and if you have any further questions, don't be afraid to ask me in the comments. So there you go, that's this one, and again, it seems to start to be complying with things we've seen before. I think we're starting to get a bit more of a consistent idea of what Series 13 in the future is looking like going forward. I do think that one about Chibnall leaving is pretty much successfully debunked now, as basically every other rumour bar that one is not about that. But let me know what you guys think about this rumour, comment down below your thoughts, and subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later.